Halfway through the palace banquet, the prince consort and his cousin Lin Wanru slipped away together. The music was too loud, the incense too thick, the emperor and empress on the throne laughed and chatted. No one noticed two people were missing, until golden words floated up before my eyes, burning into my sight line by line. Oh no, the male lead took the female lead to the warm pavilion by the beast enclosures. The fierce beasts haven't been fed tonight. Don't they know that's where they keep the snow leopard from the southern border tribute last month? It's so hungry it's been slamming into the iron bars. The point is, the villainess is right at the banquet. If she finds out, my fingers stilled. So Jiyu Chengyang had carried Lin Wanru to the warm pavilion by the beasts. Wine sloshed in my cup. I set it down slowly. Your Imperial Highness, the wine has gone to my head. I wish to get some air. I heard the beast enclosures have a new southern snow leopard. I'd like to see it. The enclosures lay in the northeast corner of the Imperial Garden, close enough to the banquet that faint roars carried on the wind. I reached the moon gate, only to be stopped by a man. He was the head eunuch of the beast enclosures, surnamed Sun, pale, beardless, fine wrinkles bunching at his eyes when he smiled. Greetings, eldest princess. The enclosures are not clean at night. We fear it might disturb your noble self. Golden words floated up again. Thank goodness eunuch Sun stopped her. How did the villainess find her way here? They're already half undressed in the pavilion if she walks in. Don't worry, eunuch Sun is on noble consort Li's side. The consort dotes on Wanru. She'll definitely hold her back. I lifted my eyes to eunuch Sun. Right, Lin Wanru's aunt was noble consort Li, favored for years, with eyes and hands everywhere in the palace. This palace was full of her people. Eunuch Sun, my voice was steady. The wine has gone to my head. I wish to get some air. I heard the beast enclosures have a new southern snow leopard. I've come to see it. Your Highness, eunuch Sun bowed lower. The snow leopard is still wild. It might frighten you. Why not walk by the lotus pond instead? The moon is lovely tonight. The golden words flickered. Yes, yes, lead her away. I think the male lead's saying in there, don't be afraid, cousin. I'll divorce her and marry you soon. Can he even say that? Hurry, villainess. They'll be finished if you stay any longer. I suddenly smiled. Lin Wanru was only a distant, fallen relative from my mother's clan. I'd let her come and go in the palace out of kindness, letting her call me cousin. Now she'd overstepped. Eunuch Sun speaks wisely. I turned as if to leave, then paused. Oh, that roasted deer tail at the banquet was delicious. I hear the deer are raised in the enclosures. I'd like to take some back to the manor for guests tomorrow. Eunuch Sun froze. Your Highness, the deer tail must be roasted fresh. The enclosures are locked for the night. No matter. I raised a hand. Yunxiu, my maid, stepped forward. Let Yunxiu go with you to fetch it. I'll wait right here to sober up. Eunuch Sun's face paled slightly. I stood before the moon gate, the night wind lifting my silk scarf. Faint candlelight seeped from the warm pavilion's windows in the distance. Shadows tangled on the paper screen. The golden words scrolled wildly. Why won't she leave? She's just going to wait. They froze as soon as they heard her. The snow leopard slamming the bars. Shit. Is the iron loose? If it breaks out, that wooden pavilion door won't hold at all. I tucked my cloak tighter and waited. Yunxiu followed eunuch Sun into the enclosures. I counted the time. 1/4 of an hour. 2 quarters. The pavilion's candle went out. The shadows crouched low. No more movement. The golden words grew frantic. They don't dare move. How much longer is the villainess going to wait? The snow leopard slamming harder. Why isn't eunuch Sun back yet? Do something. At last, eunuch Sun hurried back, holding a food box, sweat beading his forehead. Your Highness, the venison is here, but there's some unrest in the enclosures suddenly. It's not safe. You should return to the banquet at once. Unrest. I raised an eyebrow. Why yes, the snow leopard. Eunuch Sun swallowed. It seems to be growing violent. This servant has ordered more guards, but just to be safe, in that case, I took the food box. My fingers touched the still warm sides. I should go check. The snow leopard is a southern tribute. If something happens to it in the palace, as the emperor's eldest daughter, I share the responsibility. Eunuch Sun's pupils shrank. The golden words exploded. She's going in. Is she crazy? They're not even fully dressed in there if she searches. Eunuch Sun, stop her. Eunuch Sun dropped to his knees with a thud. Your Highness, you mustn't. The snow leopard hasn't eaten in 3 days. The iron bars might. Oh, I looked down at him. Not fed in 3 days. Why not? The feeding follows a southern recipe. The medicinal herbs aren't ready yet. If you knew they weren't ready, why didn't you report it? My voice turned cold. Eunuch Sun, you are failing in your duties. He trembled on the ground. I stepped around him and walked straight into the enclosures. Low roars came from inside the moon gate, mixed with the scrape of chains. The night was deep. The warm pavilion stood 20 paces west of the beast cage, door tightly shut. I stopped before the cage. Inside, the snow leopard's eyes glowed green. Its fur shone silver-gray in the moonlight. It slammed its shoulder into the iron bars again and again. The copper lock clanged. The lock is loose, I said softly. Eunuch Sun scrambled over behind me. This servant has already called a blacksmith. He'll fix it tomorrow. Tomorrow, I turned. If the snow leopard breaks out tonight and injures a noble of the palace, Eunuch Sun, how many heads do you have? His face turned ashen. The golden words flashed. She's cornering him. Do something, Eunuch Sun. The female lead's shaking in there. The male lead's covering her mouth. 3 more slams and the lock will break. I looked toward the warm pavilion. A corner of the paper window was torn. I peeked out through the hole. It shrank back at once when it met my gaze. That warm pavilion. I asked suddenly, is anyone using it tonight? Eunuch Sun's breath caught. No, it's just for storing hay. Is that so? I walked slowly toward the pavilion. I saw candlelight. It was this servant lighting a lamp to fetch the meat. I was afraid of falling in the dark. He hurried after me, almost grabbing my sleeve. Your Highness, it's filthy there. Your noble body. I stopped before the warm pavilion door. Inside came the softest rustle, like cloth rubbing, like teeth chattering. I raised my hand and knocked. Knock, 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 3 times, slow and steady. Silence inside. Eunuch Sun's voice trembled with tears. Your Highness, there's really no one. It's just hay inside, probably just rats. In that case, I lowered my hand. Open the door so I may see. If it's a rat infestation, it should be cleaned early. You mustn't, he cried out, then quickly lowered his voice. What this servant means is, it's messy inside, it might dirty your eyes. The golden words blazed across my vision. It'll all be over if she opens the door. Hold on, Eunuch Sun. The male lead's looking for places to hide, but it's just one room in there. Where can he go? The haystack. Yes, hide in the haystack. I waited quietly, waited for the 2 inside to scramble and hide, for them to cover themselves in straw, for them to press close but dare not move. Then I spoke. If Eunuch Sun insists. I turned as if giving up. Then I shall not. Eunuch Sun let out a long breath. The golden words relaxed slightly. She's leaving. Thank goodness. Hurry out while she's still gone. But I paused and said to Yunshio, go to the banquet and invite their majesties the emperor, empress, and noble consort to the beast enclosures. Say I have urgent news concerning the safety of the southern tribute. Yunshio bowed and left. Eunuch Sun froze in place. The golden words erupted again. What? She's calling the emperor. We're done for. If the emperor comes, they'll be ruined. Ruined is an understatement. Fornication in the palace. Defiling the beast enclosures, they'll lose their heads. Eunuch Sun threw himself to the ground. Your Highness. This must not trouble His Majesty. This servant will send men to strengthen the cage at once. Nothing will happen tonight. I beg you to take back your order. Eunuch Sun. I looked down at him. Earlier you said it would be fixed tomorrow, now you say it can be strengthened tonight, which is true." He had no words. The banquet music drew near, lights winding toward us. I straightened my cuffs and walked to meet the golden imperial procession, when the emperor, empress, and consort arrived. Dozens of lanterns lit up the enclosures. The emperor looked displeased. "Zhao Yang, what is so urgent?" I curtsied. "Father, I just found the iron bars of the beast cage are loose. The snow leopard is in danger of breaking out. Eunuch Sun said it can be fixed tomorrow. I feared trouble tonight. So I asked your majesty to come and decide." Noble consort Li touched the golden hairpin in her hair and smiled lightly. "Eldest princess is being too careful. The enclosures are managed by experienced men. They know what they're doing." The empress frowned. "However, the snow leopard is fierce. If it gets out, what if it hurts the servants? Your majesty, we should check." The emperor nodded and walked toward the cage. Eunuch Sun followed trembling, glancing repeatedly at the warm pavilion. Behind the pavilion's paper window, that eye appeared again, filled with terror. The golden words scrolled, "The emperor's really here. I can't watch." The female lead's crying. The male lead's hand over her mouth is shaking. The snow leopard smells people. It's slamming even harder. The emperor stopped before the cage, stared for a moment, then said sharply, "The lock pin is cracked." Noble consort Li's face paled slightly. The empress hurried, "Then strengthen it at once. Guards, send for the blacksmith." "Wait a moment," I spoke. "Father, the bars did not loosen overnight. Eunuch Sun, as head steward, has neglected his duties. Had I not noticed by chance, a great disaster would have occurred. He must be held responsible." The emperor looked at Eunuch Sun. "What have you to say?" Eunuch Sun kowtowed violently. "This servant has failed. This servant deserves death." But the bars were inspected only 2 days ago. There was nothing wrong then." "You mean, I cut him off?" "The bars broke only these past 2 days. Then we must investigate who has been here these 2 days." The air went still. A soft thud came from inside the warm pavilion, like a knee hitting wood. The emperor had excellent hearing. He turned sharply. "What was that?" Noble consort Li spoke first. "Probably rats. Places like these always have them." But I pointed at the warm pavilion. "The sound came from that hay room." Eunuch Sun said, "It's only for storing hay." "Rats, you see." The emperor narrowed his eyes. "Open it, your majesty." Eunuch Sun wailed, "It's filthy inside. It might offend your holy presence." "Open the door." The emperor's voice dropped, cold and heavy. 2 guards stepped forward and pushed the wooden door open. Creak. It was pitch black inside. The stench of rotting hay rolled out. The guards held up their lanterns and shone the light inside. It lit up a tall haystack in the corner, messy and disturbed, with a clear human shape beneath it. Noble consort Li quickly spoke. "If no one is inside, let it be. Your majesty, the night wind is cold. Let us return to the banquet." But the emperor did not move. He stared at the haystack. "What is that?" A guard used the sheath of his sword to brush away the top layer of hay. A sliver of white silk appeared, embroidered with silver lotus vines. I recognized it. It was exactly what Lin Wanru had worn today. Dead silence fell over everyone. The golden words erupted. "They refound. It's over. Her dress is showing. Hide it back." Too late. The emperor saw it. The guard brushed away more hay. More of the white dress emerged, and a black silk sleeve from a man's robe. The 2 fabrics tangled together, clearly 2 bodies pressed close beneath. The emperor's face turned ashen with rage. "Come out." The haystack trembled. After a long while, Jiyu Chengyang crawled out first, hair messy, straw stuck all over his head, clothes disheveled, half his chest bare. He threw himself to the ground. "Your Majesty, forgive this humble minister." Lin Wanru came out next, long hair loose, outer robe half sloughed off, exposing her apricot undergarment. Tears streamed down her face. Her hands shook as she clutched her clothes. Noble consort Li gasped and staggered back. The empress covered her mouth, shock in her eyes. The emperor's gaze swept between me and the two, finally settling on Jiyu Chengyang. Prince consort Jiyu, what were you doing with Miss Lin in here? Jiyu Chengyang pressed his forehead to the ground. This minister came with my cousin to view the leopard. We were locked inside by accident. We were just looking for a way out. View the leopard, I spoke softly. Prince consort and cousin have such refined taste. Then why no light? Why hide in the hay? Why such disheveled clothes? Lin Wanru sobbed. Cousin, you misunderstand. We really just, by accident, I repeated. So you took off your outer robes. So you hid in each other's arms. So eunuch son fought so hard to keep me out. I turned to the eunuch. Eunuch son, you knew they were in there all along, didn't you? Eunuch son collapsed to the ground. Noble consort Li hurried to speak. Zhaoyang, Wanru is your cousin. How can you think such things? They must have been trapped and lost their heads in panic. Lost their heads. I turned to her. Your ladyship, men and women must keep their distance. Even trapped, they should have kept proper etiquette. Looking as they do, how can I not think such things? The emperor suddenly roared. Enough. He glared at Jiyu Chengyang, fury boiling in his eyes. Jiyu Chengyang, as prince consort, you meet women in secret. Defile the palace, what is your crime? Jiyu Chengyang trembled all over. This minister pleads guilty. Have mercy, your majesty, mercy. The emperor laughed coldly. You have shamed the imperial family. You have humiliated Zhaoyang. I will show you no mercy. Lin Wanru crawled toward me on her knees. Cousin, believe me, my cousin-in-law and I are completely innocent. We were only talking. I stepped back, avoiding her hands. Talking, I spoke slowly. With your robes off, in each other's arms, in a dark warm pavilion. Lin Wanru, do you take me for blind, or everyone here for fools? She collapsed to the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. The golden words rolled across my vision, the female leads crying so hard, but this feels kind of satisfying. The villainess clapped back perfectly. Those two deserve to be shamed, but how will the emperor punish them? Will he go easy? Noble consort Li is here, she'll definitely protect her niece. Sure enough. Noble consort Li dropped to her knees. Your Majesty, Wanru is young and foolish. She must have been led astray. Prince consort Jiyu, speak. Did you force her? Jiyu Chengyang lifted his head sharply, looking at the consort, then at me, conflict flashing in his eyes. At last, he hoarsely said, I lost my mind for a moment. I forced my cousin. Lin Wanru stared at him in shock. The emperor laughed in cold rage. Fine lost moment. Jiyu Chengyang, you are truly my excellent prince consort. He flicked his sleeve. Guards, take Prince Consort Jiyu to the Ministry of Justice prison. Lock Miss Lin in Noble Consort Li's palace under strict guard. Guards stepped forward to drag them away. As Jiyu Chengyang was pulled up, he suddenly turned his head and looked at me, hatred burning in his eyes. I met his gaze and smiled faintly. This is only the beginning, Prince Consort. The banquet ended in disgrace. By the time my carriage returned to the manor, it was midnight. Yunxiu whispered beside me, Your Highness, the Prince Consort is in prison. By tomorrow, the whole capital will know. Let them talk. I closed my eyes to rest. I should thank them for saving me the trouble of divorcing him, but Noble Consort Li's side, they won't let this go. I opened my eyes. The moon outside the curtain was cold and pale. I thought of our wedding night 3 years ago, when Jiyu Chengyang lifted my veil. There had been no joy in his eyes, only cold indifference. He had said, Princess, I will respect you, respect me, but never love me. Later I learned he had long loved his cousin Lin Wanru. Only Noble Consort Li's pressure to ally with the Jiyu clan had forced him to marry the princess. For 3 years, he had treated me with polite coldness, and Lin Wanru, my dear cousin, whom I had loved since childhood, had come to the manor often to keep my cousin company, flirting with my husband right under my nose. I had never noticed, not until tonight, when those golden words floated before my eyes. They called me the villainess, the pair the main characters, their love fated. And me the disposable first wife. How ridiculous. Why? The carriage entered the princess manor. As I stepped down, I saw a figure waiting by the gate with a lantern. It was Jiyu Chengyan's mother, old Madame Jiyu. Her eyes were red and swollen. She rushed toward me as soon as she saw me. Zhao Yang, save Chengyang. Here's your husband. I stepped aside to avoid her. Madam, the prince consort committed the crime of defiling the palace. How can I save him? You are the eldest princess, begged the emperor. Say you forgive him. Say you two are happy together. Say Lin Wanru seduced him. She grabbed my sleeve. Zhao Yang, the Jiyu clan cannot lose Chengyang. I pulled my arm free. Madam, the prince consort already confessed before his majesty that he forced your cousin. Are you saying he lied to the emperor? She froze. The golden words flickered beside me. Old Madame Jiyu is panicking, using moral blackmail. Don't soften your heart, villainess. If you do, you lose. In the original story, the female lead escapes with the consort's help and lives happily ever after with the male lead. My eyes turned cold. Happily ever after. They would need lives to fly anywhere. Yunxiu, I ordered, take Madame Jiyu to the guest quarters. First thing tomorrow, send her back to the Jiyu manor. Zhao Yang. Old Madame Jiyu screamed, you can't be so cruel. Chengyang is your husband. You're bound in marriage. Bound in marriage. I turned, the night wind lifting my cloak. When he was bound with another woman in that haystack tonight, did he remember I was his wife? She had no words left. I stepped through the manor gate. The scarlet doors closed slowly behind me, shutting out her shrill cries. The next day, I entered the palace to see the emperor, in the imperial study. His face was still dark. Zhao Yang, you have been wronged. I knelt. Father, I am not wronged. But the prince consort's actions have shamed the imperial family. I beg for a divorce. The emperor fell silent for a moment. Are you sure, after divorce, you will no longer be part of the Jiyu clan? The princess manor will cut ties with them. It will harm your reputation. I am sure. I lifted my head. Better to end a filthy marriage cleanly than cling to it. The emperor sighed deeply. I grant your wish. But Jiyu Chengyan's crime is still being debated by the Ministry of Justice. Noble consort Li begged me last night, saying Wanru was forced. She asked for mercy. My heart tightened. As expected, noble consort Li would protect Lin Wanru. Father, I spoke calmly, whether cousin was willing or not. She met the prince consort in secret in the palace. If we let this go lightly, what becomes of the palace rules? What of the imperial family's honor? The emperor rubbed his temples. I know. But the consort, before he could finish, a eunuch announced, Noble consort Li requests an audience. Noble consort Li entered, dressed simply in plain linen. Tears in her eyes, she knelt at once when she saw me. Your Majesty, this concubine failed to teach her niece properly. I come to beg punishment. The emperor frowned. Rise. I will not. Tears streamed down her face. Wanru fell into a high fever last night after returning. In her dreams, she only cries, spare me. Cousin-in-law, Your Majesty, she was clearly forced. Please see the truth. Spare her life. She kowtowed heavily. The emperor's face softened with pity. I watched coldly. A fine retreat and advance tactic, a classic pity play. Your ladyship, I spoke. If cousin was truly forced, why did she not cry for help? The enclosures are remote, but guards patrol at night. The pavilion doors and windows were not locked. If she wanted to escape, it would have been easy. Noble consort Li stiffened. She must have been terrified, yet she took off her robes and hid in his arms. I pressed forward. Your ladyship, you are a woman of the palace. You know how a violated woman would look. Does cousin look forced to you? Her face paled. The emperor's gaze sharpened. I continued. Father, this concerns the palace's honor and the law's fairness. If we let her go because of the consort's pleas, others will copy her. The palace rules will mean nothing. The emperor nodded slowly. Zhaoyang speaks rightly. Even as the consort's niece, Miss Lin may not be excused. Noble consort Li lifted her head sharply. Your Majesty, Wanru is only 16. Her life is already ruined. Do you want her life too? I never asked for her life, I said calmly. By palace law, those who fornicate receive 50 strokes and are exiled to the palace laundry as slaves. Father, I believe this is fair. 50 strokes. Noble consort Li cried out, she will die. Then it will be up to her fate. I lowered my eyes. Last night, if the snow leopard had broken out, I might have been killed by it. In this palace, none of us escape fate. The emperor looked at me deeply. So be it. He picked up his brush. Jiyu Chengyang shall be stripped of all titles and offices. Exiled 3,000 li. Miss Lin shall receive 50 strokes and be sent to the palace laundry. Noble consort Li collapsed to the ground. I knelt and bowed. Your Majesty is wise. As I rose, our eyes met. Poison and hatred burned in her gaze. I smiled faintly. This was only the beginning. As I left the palace, Yunxiu whispered, Your Highness, the consort will surely bear a grudge. She has hated me for a long time. I stepped into the carriage. From the day Jiyu Chengyang married the princess, she resented me for taking the prince consort's wife position, blocking her niece's path. Then what of the future? The future. I let the curtain fall. In the future, she will have enough trouble saving herself. Golden words floated up. The sentence is so harsh, but in the original book, the consort succeeded in begging mercy, and the female lead was only confined for 3 months, because the villainess didn't make such a big scene. The emperor never knew the details inside the pavilion. Now everything's exposed. The emperor can't lose face. He has to punish severely. But the consort won't stop. She has a big move coming. I leaned against the cushion. A big move. Let her try. 3 days later, the punishment was carried out at the execution ground. When Lin Wanru was dragged to the platform, she was wasted away, her prison clothes hanging loose, her face bloodless. The crowd murmured, This is the cousin who cheated with the prince consort. Looks so gentle. How could she be so shameless? I heard the eldest princess treated her so well, and she climbed into her husband's bed. TSK. The staff rose. The first strike landed. She screamed. Noble consort Li sat on the supervising seat, nails digging into her palms, staring daggers at me. I sat calmly in the main seat. 10 strokes, her back bleeding through. 20 strokes, screams turned to whimpers. 30 strokes, she fainted. The guards splashed water to wake her and continued. The golden words rolled. So cruel. But why do I think she deserves it? The female lead was pretty scheming early on. This is karma, but the consort's eyes are terrifying. Be careful, villainess. After 50 strokes, Lin Wanru lay like a pile of mud on the platform, barely breathing. Laundry attendants stepped forward to drag her away. Noble consort Li suddenly stood, walked to me, and spoke in a low, sharp voice. Zhaoyang, I will remember this humiliation. Your ladyship exaggerates. I lifted my eyes. These are the palace laws. I only acted according to them, according to the laws. She laughed coldly. I hope you never make a mistake, princess. She flicked her sleeve and left. I watched her back and ordered Yunxiu, send men to watch the laundry. Your Highness still cares about Lin Wanru. Care, I chuckled lightly. I want to know how long she'll live, long enough to see Jiyu Chengyan's exile begin. On the day of Jiyu Chengyan's exile, I went to the prison to see him off. He wore ochre prisoner's robes, heavy chains on his wrists. His once handsome face was haggard, yet still bitter. Zhaoyang. His voice was hoarse. Are you satisfied now? You speak wrongly, Prince Consort. I stood outside the cell door. I never wished you harm. You walked this path with your own 2 feet. He laughed bitterly. Yes, I was stupid. I believed the consort's lies. Thought marrying the princess would bring glory to my clan. But Zhao Yang, were you not at fault these 3 years? You were always above everyone, always perfect and proper. Before you, I felt like a servant. I looked at him quietly. So, I said, you turned to Lin Wanru. Because she looked up to you, depended on you, made you feel like a man. He gritted his teeth. At least she cared for me, cared for you. I smiled faintly. Then do you know the consort already sent men to the laundry yesterday to give Lin Wanru sterilization wine? If my men hadn't stopped them, she could never bear children now. Jiyu Chengyan's pupils shrank violently. What? The consort wants to protect her niece, but no loose ends, a sterile slave girl. Even if she leaves the laundry later, can't marry into a noble house and threaten the consort. I spoke slowly. Jiyu Chengyang, you and her are only pawns to the consort. When a pawn is useless, it is discarded. He staggered back, chains clanging. No, impossible. My aunt promised she would take care of Wanru. Take care. I tossed a paper slip to him. This is the medical report from the laundry this morning. Lin Wanru's wounds are festering. Her fever rages, without medicine. She won't last 10 days. Has the consort sent even one bowl of herbs? He picked it up, his hands shaking violently. Golden words appeared. The male lead's world is collapsing. His true love was just a tool for the consort. The villainess's attack cuts straight to the heart. So cruel, Jiyu Chengyang. I gave him one last look. On your exile road, think carefully. Who did you live for? Who did you hurt? I turned and left. Behind me, his hoarse, broken sobs echoed. Outside the Ministry of Justice prison, the sun blazed. Yunxiu held an umbrella over me. Your Highness, old Madame Jiyu is here again. She's kneeling outside the manor, begging to see you one last time. I won't see her. I stepped into the carriage. Tell the Jiyu clan, I have divorced. We have no more ties. If they pester again, charge them with disturbing the imperial family. Yes, the carriage left the ministry, not for the manor, but for a quiet residence west of the city. Inside, a scholar in green robes waited in the study. He bowed deeply when I entered. Your Highness, please sit, sir. I dismissed the servants. Has the matter I asked you to investigate been resolved? The scholar's surname was Xie Mingheng, a strategist I secretly employed for hidden investigations. He laid out a dossier. As your Highness expected, noble consort Li has indeed corresponded with southern envoys. Last year, when the south sent the snow leopard, she accepted rich gifts from the southern king, and eunuch son of the beast enclosures is her man. The loose iron bars that night were likely no accident. I flipped through the dossier, my gaze growing cold. If the snow leopard broke free, the warm pavilion would be first. Sheheng continued. If no one had stopped you that night, and you had entered the enclosures, the two inside would have died, and if your Highness were injured or frightened there, the consort could seize power, even threaten the Eastern Palace. 3 birds with 1 stone. I closed the dossier. Silence the witnesses, remove me, weaken the Empress and Crown Prince. A fine plan. How will your Highness respond? No hurry. I walked to the window. The consort has lost her pawns. She will strike back. We wait for her to expose herself. One more thing. Sheheng lowered his voice. Word from the laundry. Lin Wanru tried to hang herself last night. She was saved. I turned. Why? It seems someone told her. Jiyu Chengyang said one thing before exile. He paused. If she hadn't seduced me, I would not be here. I froze for a moment, then laughed. The consort acts fast. I spoke softly. She's cutting off Lin Wanru's last hope, making her willingly accept being discarded. Will your Highness save her? Save her? I shook my head. She chose this path. She must bear it. But don't let her die. I want her alive to see the consort's true face with her own eyes. Sheheng bowed and left. I looked out the window. Pear blossoms bloomed white as snow. On our wedding day 3 years ago, Jiyu Chengyang had broken a branch and given it to me, saying, "Princess, you are like a pear blossom, pure and noble." I had believed him. How foolish. Half a month later, rumors spread through the palace. They said the eldest princess was jealous, framed the prince consort and his cousin, lured them to the warm pavilion, then led the emperor to discover them, using his hand to kill them. The rumors grew louder. Even censorious officials impeached me, saying I lacked virtue and was unfit to represent the imperial family. In the imperial study, the emperor threw a memorial before me. What do you have to say for yourself? I picked it up and glanced at it. I have nothing to say, nothing to say, the emperor roared. The whole court is talking about you. Zhao Yang, I know you were wronged, but you should not have used such tricks. Father believes I set this up. I lifted my eyes. How else could it be so coincidental? You just happened to go to the enclosures that night, just happened to find the loose bars, just happened to make me come. Zhao Yang, I am not a fool. I knelt. If your majesty doubts me, I beg for a full investigation. I bowed my head. Send men to check the iron bars, the leopard's feeding records, eunuch son's contacts, and the relationship between noble consort Li and the southern envoys. The emperor's pupils shrank. Why drag the consort into this? Because when eunuch son stopped me that night, he said one thing. I lifted my head slowly. He said noble consort Li dotes on cousin Wanru and would surely stop me. I did not understand then, now I know. Eunuch son knew who was in the pavilion, acting on the consort's orders. The emperor's face changed drastically. Furthermore, I continued, the lock on the leopard's cage was made of refined steel. Without outside force, how could it crack easily? I have had craftsmen examine it. The break has chisel marks. It was man-made. Silence filled the study. After a long while, the emperor said coldly, you planned this long ago. I only wished not to be wronged. I kowtowed. Father, I am your eldest princess, the face of the imperial family. If I am shamed for lacking virtue, it damages your authority and the dignity of great Jew. I can bear humiliation, but the imperial family cannot. The emperor stared at me, his anger fading into complexity. Rise, he sighed deeply. I will send men to investigate. Thank you, father. I stood and added, one more thing. Jiyu Chengyang fell ill on the exile road. He died suddenly at a post station 3 days ago. The emperor froze. Dead. Yes, I lowered my eyes. The Ministry of Justice reports it was a sudden illness. But Shiheng's investigation said Jiyu Chengyang had received a secret letter on the road. After reading it, he coughed up blood and died that same night. Who sent the letter went without saying. The emperor was silent for a moment, then waved his hand. Let him be. You have divorced. The Jiyu clan's affairs are no longer your concern. Yes, as I left the study, I ran straight into noble consort Li. Her makeup was perfect, but dark circles showed beneath her eyes. She started, then forced a smile. Eldest princess also comes to see his majesty. Greetings, your ladyship. I nodded. Father is quite angry. If you have no urgent business, you might wish to return later. Her smile stiffened. Thank you for the reminder. Princess, as we passed each other, she whispered low. Princess, you play a clever game. I did not pause, not half so clever as your ladyship. Golden words floated before my eyes. The consort is panicking. The emperor is investigating her now. The villainess's counterattack is perfect. She threw the blame right back. But the consort has been in power for years. She won't fall easily. I stepped out of the palace gates, sunlight spilling over my shoulders. True, the consort would not fall easily, but that was never my goal, not to topple her at once. I wanted to peel off her gentle mask, layer by layer, so father, the court, and the whole world could see, this seemingly kind and virtuous consort was rotten to the core. That took time, and patience. Another month passed. The palace laundry, Lin Wanru lay on a straw mat. Her cane wounds had scabbed over, leaving crisscrossing scars. She was wasted away, her eyes empty, like a walking corpse. When I entered the cell, she turned slowly, her gaze locked onto mine, and hatred flared. What are you doing here? Her voice was hoarse. to laugh at me. I have no time for such games. I gestured for Yunshio to set down the food box. I brought medicine and food. She laughed coldly. The weasel pays respects to the chicken. Cousin, no one is watching, stop pretending. I waved Yunshio away. We were alone in the cell. Lin Wanru. I knelt and looked her in the eye. I understand why you hate me, but have you ever wondered who really brought you to this? She turned her face away. You framed Chungyinji and me. Framed you. I chuckled lightly. Did I make you meet in the dead of night? Did I make you undress and hold each other? Did I make you hide in the hay like cowards? She bit her lip. That night, Eunuch's son blocked me because the consort ordered him to protect you. I spoke slowly. But when the emperor came, what did the consort do? She disowned you at once, said you were young and foolish, that you were forced. Did she ever speak a word in your defense? Lin Wanru's lashes trembled. If she hadn't seduced me, I would not be here. The consort sent someone to tell you that, didn't she? I stared at her. She made you think Jiyu Chengyang betrayed you, made you want to kill yourself. That way, you'd never open your mouth about what really happened that night. Lin Wanru's whole body shook. After you were sent here, did the consort ever visit, ever send one bowl of medicine? I pressed her. When your wounds festered and you burned with fever, what was she doing? Attending flower banquets, plotting to ruin me, clinging to her power. To her, you're just a used-up pawn. Stop. She covered her ears, tears streaming down. Stop talking. I will not. I pulled her hands away. You're 16, your whole life ahead. And you let someone's ambition turn you into a slave. Do you really accept that? Don't you want revenge? She lifted her head, hatred and confusion tangled in her eyes. Revenge? How? I'm just a slave. Even slaves can speak. I stood. If you testify against the consort, say she ordered Eunuch's son to damage the cage, to hurt me, I will beg father to free you from your slavery and send you out of the palace. She froze. You want me to betray my aunt? She betrayed you first. I sneered. Lin Wanru, think of your suffering this past month. Think of Jiyu Chengyan's death. Think of the rest of your life. Do you want to stay her discarded tool forever? She collapsed to the ground. After a long while, she asked hoarsely, if I testify, will you really save me? My word is as good as a royal decree. She closed her eyes, tears falling. When she opened them again, only resolve remained. 3 days later, confrontation before the emperor. Noble consort Li knelt in the hall. Lin Wanru was supported by 2 attendants, so weak she might collapse at any moment. The emperor's face was like water. Miss Lin, you say the consort ordered Eunuch's son to damage the cage. Do you have proof? Lin Wanru gasped for breath. This slave heard it with her own ears, before the banquet. My aunt summoned Eunuch's son to the Dew Nectar Hall. She said the business at the beast enclosures must be done tonight. If the snow leopard frightened the eldest princess, it would be a great merit. I was behind the screen. I heard every word. Noble consort Li snapped. Wanru, I treated you well. Why do you falsely accuse me? Treated me well. Lin Wanru laughed bitterly. Where were you when my wounds festered? You sent men to tell me Chungyinji blamed me for seducing him, to drive me to kill myself. Is that how you treated me well? The consort's face paled. The emperor turned to her. Consort Li, what do you say, Your Majesty? Wanru is bitter from love. She's framing this concubine. The consort threw herself to the ground, weeping. Why would I harm Zhao Yang? She is the eldest princess, the imperial daughter. I respect her more than anything. Respect me. I spoke suddenly. Then why did you accept rich gifts from the south? Why meet secretly with southern envoys? Why place your men in the enclosures and let the snow leopard starve for 3 days? I waved a hand. Shehat, behind me. Her hoarse singing echoed an old palace grievance song, shrill as a ghost's wail. As I walked out of the cold palace, Yunshio whispered, Your Highness, Lin Wanru has been sent out of the capital. On the way back to the manor, the golden words appeared one last time.
The heroine's side is completely destroyed, the male lead dead in exile, the villainess won completely. This ending is nothing like the original book, but it feels so satisfying. The eldest princess is now the real main character, shining alone. I let the curtain fall and closed my eyes. The golden words faded slowly, until they vanished entirely. It was as if that banquet night had been nothing but an absurd dream, but I knew it was real. I had torn apart the so-called fate with my own 2 hands, and walked my own path. 1 year later, in the back garden of the Princess Manor, I was playing chess with Xieheng. Yunxiu hurried over. Your Highness. Report from the northern border, the Turks have invaded, broken 3 cities. His Majesty has summoned all officials at once. Xieheng and I exchanged a look. He placed a piece on the board. Your Highness, the time has come. I stood, changed into court robes, and entered the palace. In the Golden Hall, generals argued for war, scholars for peace. Chaos reigned. The emperor rubbed his temples. Worn out, I stepped forward. Father, I volunteer to go north to command the army against the invaders. The hall fell silent, then erupted. Eldest princess, a woman cannot go to war. This is a national battle, not a game. Your Highness, think carefully. The emperor frowned too. Zhao Yang, do you know how dangerous the north is? I do. I held my head high. Precisely because it is dangerous must the imperial family go, to lift the soldiers' hearts. Father, though I am a woman, I am of the emperor's blood, the eldest princess of Great Zhu, when the nation is in danger. I wish to follow our ancestor Princess Pingyang, don armor, take up arms, and protect our land. The officials were moved. The emperor stared at me for a long while, then slowly stood. Granted. He unbuckled the imperial sword from his waist and held it out to me. This sword is named Zhenghua, guardian of the kingdom. It fought with the great founder. Today I give it to you. All armies in the north shall obey your command. I knelt on one knee and accepted the sword with both hands. I shall not fail your majesty. 3 months later, at Yangmen Pass in the northern border, I wore silver armor, held a long sword, and stood atop the city wall. Outside the pass, 100,000 Turkic cavalry gathered, dark as a storm cloud pressing down on the land. Xieheng stood beside me. Your Highness, all is ready. I nodded and raised the sword of National Guard high. Soldiers, the 3 armies below stood silent, their eyes burning. The Turks have invaded our lands, slaughtered our people. This hatred is as deep as heaven and earth. Today, behind us is our home. 1 step back, and our rivers and mountains will be broken. 1 step forward, and our names will be written in history. In the name of the eldest princess, I will live and die with you all. Kill, kill. The city gates opened wide, and cavalry poured forth like a flood. I galloped at the very front. The sword of National Guard glinted cold, slicing off the enemy chieftain's head. Blood stained my battle robe, the wind whipped the banners. This battle raged from sunrise to sunset. The Turks were routed, retreating 100 li. When the victory report reached the capital, the whole realm rejoiced. The emperor issued an edict, promoting me to eldest princess of National Guard, granting me 10,000 households and the right to establish my own court equal to the ministers. I became the first princess in the founding of Great Zhu to earn the title of guardian of the nation through military merit. Another spring came. I returned to the capital to report on my duties. Pear blossoms bloomed again in the Princess Manor, covering the branches like snow. Xieheng brewed tea beneath the tree. When he saw me return, he smiled and poured a cup. Your Highness, welcome back in triumph. I took the tea and sipped. Sir, have you been well in the manor these days? He lifted his eyes. Your Highness means to ask why I have not left. I did not deny it. He set down the teapot and spoke slowly. I once thought all women were confined to inner chambers or trapped in love. Until I met Your Highness, I learned that a woman can also hold a sword to defend her country, and decide the fate of the realm alone. I wish to assist Your Highness, and watch this land of Great Zhu enjoy peace and prosperity under your rule. I looked at him steadily. After a long while, I raised my cup. Then let us walk this path together. Pear blossoms drifted down, dusting our shoulders and hair. In the distance, palace bells rang, long and clear. I looked to the sky, where clouds rolled and unfolded. In this life, I would no longer be anyone's ornament, anyone's footnote. I am Zhao Yang, eldest princess of National Guard, the main character of my own life.